Hello everybody, I'm almost here. Let me press this button. Hopefully, I'm just waiting for the ad to finish on my screen so I can pause it and not worry about that. So hopefully, I see that Quindy's saying hi, so hopefully that means everyone else can see me and hear me. I apologize to anyone who's hoping that this camera would be all about kitties today, but Tavi was already settled in for a nice nap, and I thought rather than waking her up and encouraging her to, wander around and be disruptive, we just let her sleep. So, hopefully next week we will enjoy more kitty time. I see Zachariah AM and Green Users, Bob and Julie. Hope you're all well. And I hope you had a great Monday last week where I was not here because this is the Holiday Monday show, so I missed a bunch of Holiday Mondays. I guess I was supposed to talk to somebody about switching to Tuesday maybe if there isn't already something there. But I don't know. I guess after a while we're all used to this, but there is some change. I'm going to switch over to the other view and we'll talk about something I discovered like 20 minutes before I started the show. So, I shook things. So this looks weird because I've set up kind of a backdrop instead of just having it flat on my desk. And I was messing around trying to, it still looked really blown out when I was looking at the face on this miniature, and I was doing various things, and I noticed that when I did that, it was better than if the backdrop is low. So if she's just against, this that's fairly far away, but if there's something nearer, it seems like it helps get the values and the colors a little better. I mean, video and color, that is what it is. There's only so much you can do about how cameras don't see colors the way human eyes do. So this is a very ad hoc solution that I have at the moment. This is actually like some kind of iPad holder thing that we had. I tried a different iPad holder thing that we had. So hopefully I can make this work. It does mean I lose some, desk space. But mostly that desk space I leave clear to help the camera. So even with that, it's still, I don't know how close we have to get to have it helpful, but I will ponder alternate, more permanent solutions. So I figured I'd share that partly just to explain, like, if you've watched before and you're like, what's this weirdness? But also, it kind of goes along with what we talk about often here about learning. And even though I've been doing the video thing for, I don't know, 2 years, I don't even remember. Zachariah will DM some things that he's discovered about our camera. So this camera is actually an iPhone because it'll go up to 4K, which I didn't realize. This is the document camera, so I use that as the palette cam, essentially. I think the resolution's a little better. We can try. Oh, we can go to full size. Nope, full size there. This camera is definitely a little pickier about where things are, I think. But I don't know if you all liked the if you all like this one better, I can probably go back to using that. So just for the comparison, come back here. That's this one, which I don't know if I have a way to zoom it in more. There is a sweet spot for the focus where, see, it seemed like this was fixing it, but now I don't know. Oh my gosh. I do have a tan one. I think it's the closeness. I did try different color. I tried black and tan. So I think it's just the nearness of something behind it that helps. And I do not know how to make that be any nearer with what I have on my person. Can I try that, maybe? Probably not. So I don't know, maybe I do need to play around with the colors a little bit more. And it's a problem with some minis more than others. This one has extremes of light and dark, so that's probably why it's probably doing that. But I brought over a few other, I mean, this one also has extremes of light and dark, and I don't see, it doesn't seem like it's making much of a difference on this one, which is interesting, even though it does have extremes. What else am I bringing? More owlbears, because how do you have enough owlbears? And this one I would also say that I don't feel like it's making a big difference whether that's nearer or further. Let's try Mr. Starburst. And he looks pretty starbursty there. I don't think that changes his level of starburstiness. And then the other one I brought, I figured I'd try colors and neutrals, is the dire cabbage, which I also feel is not hugely different. So, interesting. So what have I learned? I don't know what I've learned. But we sometimes get this that like you'll be trying to blend or paint eyes, or there's some task that you find frustrating that you've been trying to do, and you get a mini where you do it and you're happy with how you did it. So the tendency is to just tell yourself, well, now I know how to do that. Problem solved. Everything's great. And then the next mini or 3 minis later, you do the eyes and it doesn't turn out no matter what you do. And then you feel like have I forgotten what I'm doing? Did I not learn this? And it's just that there's always so many variables and different things. Learning is an ongoing process. The tendency we have to think it's like a video game where it's like, skill unlocked, level achieved. There's a backwards and a forwards with the learning process that's very natural, but we make ourselves feel bad about it. So I maybe I should have figured this out years ago. Who knows? But I didn't. So I can't go back in time and say maybe study up on cameras more before you make a video show. What I can do is just try to improve going forwards. And I say this stuff like I'm this Mondo cheerleader and I never have problems, but like I have a lot of brain problems is why I know I have to say this stuff. Although today I have a dip problem in a different part of my head. I went to the dentist and I never knew this despite having like a lot of dental stuff done when I was a kid. You can kind of strain the muscle at the side of your jaw and your jaw locks up. And they actually do call it lockjaw now. I thought that was tetanus, but they refer to this situation as lockjaw. No, see, I feel like it's almost partly the color too. Can I get my tan one from here? We're just not going to worry about it. I'll just do this periodically so you can see what she looks like more accurately. And before I forget to mention it, when we finished up at the end of, not last week, but the week before, I was playing around with adding some of the teal to the green in her hair and on her tail. And, I still had paint on my palette and I was kind of into it. So I did add a little bit more, work on the hair a little bit more and just a little bit on the tail. And I think the effect kind of does what I want. Like it's a bit like it doesn't go, so it's not pretty exactly, but it adds, it makes it more interesting to look at than when it was just, just plain khaki greens like that. I don't know if you agree, but you can let me know, I guess. So I had my filling and my jaw hurt that day because you have to have so you sit there with your mouth open for a while, even though it was not a complicated process. Oh, I zoomed in. That's my problem. I'm like, why does this seem like... Nope, I'm doing the wrong thing. Pushing the wrong buttons. There we go. Because I had the camera all lined up, but then I had to put water in the palette, so I had to take the palette away. So yeah, so I looked it up, and the first stuff I read was all like, it's not that big a thing. Um, okay, I'm gonna be annoying and move this a little. Sorry, I can get this closer to my zone and make more room for the stuff that's I have to have on my desk that way. So it seemed like something that is probably just going to resolve, and then I realized it had been like 3 weeks or something. And I was like, is it resolving? I don't know. And then Friday, I was going to go out and do this like little art group thing, and I had time beforehand, and I went and got a bagel, and I'm chewing the bagel, and like there was just this shooting pain that went all through there and up into my ear, and then it hurt to do a bunch of stuff. So on one way, it did kind of feel like maybe it was loosening up, but also then it was like, well, that's alarming. So when I looked it up again, then of course all the articles I found were way more alarmist and like, if this happens more than 3 days, you should talk to somebody. And this is, it can be really bad and get frozen away. And I'm like, great, thanks. Now is a great time to tell me. So that happened Thursday night, and I called my dentist, who does not work on Fridays apparently. So I didn't get to talk to them today and until today. And they just want me to, well, first she's like, so take a leave, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I would have been taking an anti-inflammatory if I could take an OTC anti-inflammatory, but I can't. So I get steroids when I need anti-inflammatories. But I said I do have muscle relaxers, so if that's close enough, I can go with that. And then I'm supposed to like put a hot compress on it every 5 seconds. But it did kind of get better over the weekend. I think it did loosen something up. All right, so today I want to work on her buddies, the eels, which I cannot show you the picture for because I didn't find like it's okay to use this publicly picture. But if you want to do a Google search for black moray eel, you should find something kind of similar. The ones I found had like little speckles of peach. It looked kind of like flesh tone to me. Around the muzzle and the head and stuff, which I think I'm going to accentuate beyond the effect in my photo. But these are, hold on, this is a dirty phone screen is what it is. I'll be right back with that. Washing it off. These are the colors that I pulled out. And they were different. Like I saw these as much pinker and peachier because they were around these colors. That's the color of the main body, and there are some cool highlights on it. This was the eye, I think. And then these were also darker than I realized because they're going against such a dark value, and it had kind of a velvety look that I thought was fun. So in theory, that's what I'm going to try to do. I picked out the dark elf triad. It looked very similar to the kind of, slight hint of purple that the dark areas had. Hold on, I have all these paints in a tray and I'm still having trouble finding them, so that's fun. I also have mist wood. I might use that to do. Or I might, I picked out an actual light blue to make some cool highlights with as well. And what else do I need? And then I've got Doxy Blush, Chestnut Brown, and a few other skin colors, rosy skin. This is for something else, I think. Do I remember now? I think I just put it in because I was putting in complementaries. So if I had to do something, I would have complementaries. Was it I don't think it was that. There we go. There's another skin tone. So I don't know if I'll use much of that because it's warm, but I'll put it over here in hopes that it's So I'm probably just going to start by making sure that everything, I think some paint bits got on parts of him when I was painting other parts. So I'm just going to tidy him up. Well, there are two of them. Sorry if I seem like scattered and weird today. I think I might be scattered and weird today. It happens. And I have not really put like a ton of thought into how am I going to make this, get those pinky things to look like they go with the other thing. Well, work that out when I get there. I mean, I think stippling is probably going to be the answer because stippling is the answer to many questions. Now the question is whether I can keep far enough away that the focus is fine. I think it's okay. I just want to try to double check, spots where I was painting against other things and make sure that these guys get nice and deep and dark in the shadows. I seem to be moving up, so I might not have put my camera at exactly the right place, but I will attempt to keep track of it. So has anyone been doing any fun summer traveling? Or, I mean, how have you been doing with the weather, Zachariah? It seems like you guys are really getting some intense weather. This is where that little hook on the end of the brush is gonna come in handy, because hopefully it's just gonna hug his tummy and not get near her arm. So although I wish there was a synthetic brush that did not hook on the end before sooner or later, and most often for me sooner, I do enjoy that I can use the hook for specific painting purposes, but I would love to find, the Holy Grail is an inexpensive synthetic brush that will hold a nice point. Because people are never going to stop asking about that, and I get it. I think the problem is we just don't have enough bristles, because the watercolor brush people have come out with some pretty good brushes, and if I'm using a size 4 or 6 or 7 on watercolor painting, there's enough of whatever the technology is, mixing different types of bristles and whatever else they do, that unless I was doing like lettering or something really detailed, I probably would not notice or care about whether the tip was like pinpoint perfect. But we work with millimeters and dotting I's, and so pinpoint perfect can be important, and I think there's just not enough bristles on a small size brush like a 0 or a 1 to do whatever the bigger ones are doing and make the thing that happens with the point. I think you can see that one's kind of doing the hook. It's not bad, but it's doing a bit of the hook. And you can kind of, you can work with the hook. I could say, okay, I'm going to use the hook as my tiny point for doing just a little, why don't I get some fresh paint when I do that? Because my paint is drying. So you can do, I'm just going to put a little dot in the center of that gem with the little hook. Okay, so I did that, but it's probably more reliable and easier to do that with a brush that is pointing straight ahead instead of with a little curl. Oops, apologies. Got a little metallic on him there. So that bit under there is actually her hair. So that's why it's not eel colored or skin colored. So along the little crest, got a lot of overpaint from when I was painting other things. And I am now realizing that the picture I looked at was the head of an eel poking out of a little den or something, a little hiding spot. Primed to attack, probably. And I don't know what their tails look like, but I'm probably gonna try and play around with the pinky peachy colors and see if it's too distracting to have that color there, because that would hopefully play nicely off the green and blue in her tail and kind of each of them provide the other some fun color contrast. But I don't want it to be so much color contrast that it takes away from her face, which is one reason these guys are going to be dark near her face, so that we have, a high value contrast. And then her face is a little bit more of a magenta leaning purple, and they're going to be more of a violet leaning purple, although in both cases desaturated. So that's not like a huge contrast, but hopefully, you can kind of combo up contrast and get a bigger effect than just using one kind. And that is especially valuable to do if you can't do one or both of the primary ones, which I would say is value and like strong hue contrast, like contrasting, complementary colors. Then you kind of want to pile up as many of the other ones as you can, just sort of make up for it. I think now I can't remember if I did that part. I'm going to say no, because there was some green there. Definitely didn't do that part. Because that's got her skin tone all over his crest. So everybody's pretty quiet. I guess we're all just having a quiet day. I have not really painted her tail yet. I guess I have to ponder whether I just want to continue with the, teal green type thing or do anything else. Probably just the teal green type thing, but I'm open to suggestions. Oh, did I not shove enough blue liner under there? This is the other thing the synthetics with the hooks are good for, because can sometimes get the bristles to kind of poke down into those holes like that. All right. So the color I actually want to use is not here. Hold on. I apparently made some decision that I don't recall at this time, and I don't have Dark Elf Shadow, so we're just gonna, I think I decided to start with the Nightshade Purple. Zachariah is basing a few figures for a friend. Well, that is very kind of you. Basing definitely isn't my favorite. Let's see what that spread looks like. It feels just a little thick, so I might have to add more water, but we'll see. And I would say that the Dark Elf skin isn't quite as powerful in mixing as the Nightshade Purple. Which, if I need to go lighter, I will use a bit of this Mistwood. Quindy says, when you're done, please prep my minis for me. Yeah, if I could have someone who did prep, and maybe base coating, that would be me to me, because then I'd be the only person doing the fun parts. Well, I'm sure there are some people who enjoy those parts. I mean, I hear there are these people who enjoy assembling things. I think they're crazy, but that is what I've heard. All right, so I'm going to start on a guy at the back, so that if I end up having made terrible choices, it won't be very momentous. If I didn't already have the black down there, I would probably wait for my first coat of Nightshade Purple. Too dry. Now my problem is that I can't tell if it's a highlight or shiny paint. So maybe we will be letting things dry just because of my eyeballs. And put some of that on the crest. These all look the same to me too, in case you're, well, no, these two look the same if those are a little bit lighter. But that's not the camera. That is the thing where dark paints pretty much look alike until you spread them out or thin them down or some other way make them reveal their undertones. All right, I think that does look like a highlight. But it's not quite dry. I should not be showing so many bad examples with my impatience. I'm not worried about getting this everywhere because, the black was everywhere. I should have done that with the nightshade. It would have been more efficient, but I forgot my original plan. I should know better by now and write down my original plans. And this absolutely happens with regular minis. I mean, usually I paint a mini like in a concentrated span of time and I will remember what I'm doing. But if for any reason I have to leave off painting that miniature for a while, I am very likely to forget little plans like that. And I know that, and I should write them down. I've been going through some of my miniatures again. A friend of mine is starting a game store, and she was the person who had taken over doing Paint Club when I was too busy. And she was asking me about that, and I'm like, if you would like to have this stuff, like we bought a bunch of lamps and stuff, I would be very happy to see Paint Club continue, but me get to be old and tired and not have to do it every time. But I decided to also take that as an opportunity to go through stuff and, any miniatures I have that I'm not super excited to paint. Maybe I can donate them to the cause as well. There were already some that were like that. Like there's still some from my first vampire box in the set of Paint Club miniatures, I think. But it will be nice to have that going in Knoxville again. So if you or anyone you know lives near Knoxville, Tennessee, drop me a line and I'll let you know the information about where the store is. The grand opening is like the weekend of June 14th, I think. And she's going to have some painting there. And we also have a Facebook group. And that's like anyone who'd be willing to ever come to a Knoxville event. So there's a few people from like Louisville and Nashville and stuff that did make it out occasionally to events that are on that list. So I called it Knoxville Area Miniature Painters, and then also because that makes the acronym CAMP, and that amused me. So, all right, so this is where I put that little highlight. And I think I'm gonna be fairly restrained with them, but I might get a little bit lighter than that. Zachariah does love assembling things. Prepping I mostly love. Quindy, assembling GW kits with instructions occasionally scratches an itch in my brain, like putting together a Lego set. But no instructions? No thank you. How about IKEA? You love putting together some IKEA furniture? My husband just was wrestling with a shelf, and I'm not sure. Well, the first shelf won, but I think he won the second time. Probably gonna need both of those. Gwynny LaRue, I don't have an IKEA near me, so I've never had to try. Yeah, we actually, for a while, they were doing delivery. So first we had a friend that went over to Atlanta, I think is where our closest one is. And they got a bunch of stuff in their car. It was because they were buying things for themselves as well. So they really squeezed an impressive amount of assembly furniture into their vehicle, and they got us some stuff. But board gamers are all about the Calyx shelves. So we have some, but apparently we don't have enough. And we've been buying, I don't know if it's House and Garden. It was something that like Walmart sells, because the Target ones are not 12 by 12. They're 11 by 11, which is kind of weird. And a lot of game manufacturers now are actually making the boxes so that they fit on a Calyx. I'm kind of ticked at IKEA because in that same trip, our friends picked up a couple of the Billy bookcases for us. At least one. And I already had three Billies that I got like in college. So these are old pieces of furniture. And there's some chips on the, finish and stuff like that. But they have held up fine all of this time. And the new one I had that I actually used for books, I mean, the other ones mostly were used for books too, actually. Not sure why I'm saying it weird like that. The shelf, I looked over one day from a distance. I was on my computer and it's that one back there. And the shelves were bowing. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I have these ones that are 30 or 40 years old or something, and they're fine. And this brand new one, the shelf can't handle being used for actual, books. And it wasn't even all hardback book. Like, it was mostly, larger coffee table style, because it's my books with miniature stuff in them mostly, or other art books that I have. But there was nothing like unusually heavy. They were books on a bookshelf, and it's not shelving very well. And I have a lot of feelings about that. I have a lot of feelings about how everything is kind of made to suck now, because we had to get our water heater repaired or replaced because it was very old. Like, it was the one that was here when my husband bought the house, and we kind of knew, like, one day this will be a thing. But we'll try not to bug it, and maybe it'll just keep it together for us. And that did mostly work. And then one day it started leaking a little. And the guy came in, and it was like he was looking at some kind of, unbelievable artifact that it had lasted for, more than 20 some years. So apparently we should not expect that to happen again. That this one will probably last like 10 years because that is how they're made. I don't understand. I don't have the money or the bandwidth to be buying new. And furnaces, he's like, your furnace is so old. And the furnace we did buy after we got married, and it turned out that it was even a little later than Kevin had thought it was. He thought it was like right after we got married, and it was not. And he's like, yeah, you'll probably have to get another one of those soon. I said, great, excellent, very excited to hear that. Those are not at all expensive. Be like, if stuff could stay together for a minute, maybe we could save up and eventually fix the windows or something, which has always been a dream of mine. So I'm just trying to break up the edge a little bit, because I mean they are kind of going to be shiny and reflective in spots. So like right there, that's a lot of edge. Let's try to tone that down. You can see it is hard to tell whether it's shine or the painting, but in some places it is the painting. So I just want to make it uneven instead of a flat on the edge. Stripe of paint. Alright, good enough. Now I gotta do the same thing on this side a little, which is going to be slightly more awkward because of the location, but that happens. Am I keeping her in focus at all? I am not sure. I do want to make sure that it looks kind of cool from that. That's probably the prime viewing angle, so I want it to look okay from the barn viewing angle. Quindy does not want to mess with power tools, which is generally not needed for IKEA. They give you an Allen key and some pretty good pictorial things to follow. And I say pretty good because if you've then done knockoff IKEA furniture, you begin to discover how bad it can be. And it can be bad. It can definitely be worse than what IKEA does. And I'd gone down to help him with the shelf he was working on most recently. And I'm like, I could not figure out a way either. It's like, okay, we can get 3 of these sides to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know how we're supposed to get the 4th one to do that too. But he went downstairs, and I didn't see what he did, but he did figure it out last night. So he triumphed. And then he's like, but now I want to buy another one. He's like, I'm going to get a real Calyx this time. Because they have started shipping again. Which, of course, isn't cheap, because shipping anything isn't cheap anymore. I've filled out some Kickstarter surveys where I've had some heart attacks at the price of shipping. Which, I get it. I'm not begrudging them, but ouch. Probably shouldn't mess with the name, but all right, let's do what we came here to do and try out some of these weird colors and see if I can figure out how to get the weird and the not weird colors working together. I feel like I must have had a darker. There we go, red brick. I think. Let me look at my picture again. So for anyone who came in a little later, I am using a photo of a black moray eel, but this is a Google photo, so I cannot share it on camera. I'm usually successful in finding things that I can share, but alas, I did not this time. So if you do a Google search, you will probably find something that is similar. They don't all have this aspect with the like little spots on their face, but just keep scrolling and you'll probably find it. I'm actually going to put my guy on screen. Well, it's not. I mean, I don't know if spots. It's like places where that color is showing through a bit. Oh no! Don't wake up. Hi, Tabby. You're very adorable. You're also chaos. Chaos on 4 paws. These cats continue to be the least coordinated cats I've ever met. It's like they're just like you couldn't jump up into a chair, which is a thing you have done before. Will do. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time, green users. I'll give them big kisses. I'm sure that I will actually probably have to go sit with them for a little while after we finish up. They are used to a lot of attention. I do spoil them somewhat. Because they are good girls. And they're very sweet to me. All right. Okay, so that's his little eyeball right there. So he has his mouth closed. This one has its mouth open. So it'll be like around here. Gonna extend it past what the picture has, where it's really like just a few places on its head that show through with the lighter color. See, now it doesn't. Those are the colors that the computer told me, but I feel like there's not enough of that orange. Do I have orange nearby? Clear orange. We'll make that work. So I like the trick of seeing colors with the computer, but it's not always gonna be like the Hey Reaper miniatures. It's not always gonna give you the exact right color or feel or whatever, but it can help because sometimes combinations of colors are just really trick our brains into thinking that they are something much different than they actually are. So he looks all patchy and weird at the moment, but let's see what we can do to kind of meld that in a little more. I don't think we can see the eye on the other side. And I think I'll fade it back a bit towards the crest. Back fin. I know Julie left, so now we don't get to know the real words for things. You just get my made up versions. Zachariah is asking Reaper Miniatures what they think of an exercise Reaper Challenge League. Fitness, health, or just t-shirts and stickers. Now, are we meant to be exercising while we paint miniatures? Because that seems challenging. I know there was that time that Jeremy Bonamont painted while jumping, after jumping out of a balloon or something. But that was more of a max jur. So I don't know if you could hear Chai in the background sounding piteous. Which she just sounds piteous. She's not usually that tragic. She just has that kind of sound. I would say she's actually quite happy, little cat. Some of the bruised purple, which I've always loved. Do you need some help, Tav? You're gonna go the other way. Okay. I'm in the chair. She usually jumps down on. I can hear my husband preparing a cat meal, and Tavi is not one to miss out on a cat meal. Ty occasionally does, but that's not what Tabby does. I'm now debating whether I need to just use that as the highlight color on all of them, really. I mean, like the entire body of them, not just their head. I think that's probably what I should do. I'm not sure that in a miniature context there's enough information to get what I'm doing otherwise, and I also think it kind of shows up more than the other thing. So I will go back. I don't know if that messes me up for doing the crest now that I was gonna probably use those colors on, but we'll ponder. So let's see, Zachariah is clarifying that the main interest is fitness and having healthy habits. Maybe like RCL, maybe just a support channel like the one we have for mental health recharging. The way we frequently talk about it during and stream made me think of t-shirts and stickers. Seeing you here made me think of RCL. Sorry. I got all distracted with the background question and didn't spend the time I should have verifying the focus location. And I guess let's check if it looks wildly different with my hand there. I don't know. Video is tricksy. I'm kind of trying to follow the undulations a bit. I do think that color is more interesting than the other one. Oh, I guess I probably have to put it on the other side. Especially after I made the point that that's an important view angle of his head. Or her head. I don't know. I don't, for all I remember, eels could be one of those animals that change gender as required by circumstances. I feel like there's been a Frank on eels, but maybe I'm wrong. if there has, I'm clearly not remembering. And I have a good excuse to go watch all his fun true facts videos again. He put out one recently about possums. And they're definitely a little wild. They got some stuff going on. There was also some information about other animals that do the, freeze, play dead, protective thing, and how and why that might be beneficial for them. There's not too much down there. Maybe we do just want a little bit going down that curve so it doesn't look only like a highlight thing. It's natural coloration and stuff. And then while I'm here, we're gonna see if my old Mighty Blue liner will make it look even deeper in the crevices. So I'll have another indistinguishable dark color on my palette that I have to remember. So it's blue liner, black, nightshade purple. Probably want to thin this down just a smidge though. So I think one reason it works better is that the original Dark Elf skin isn't different enough from her skin color. So this oranginess contrasts with both her hair and her skin color and kind of stands out a little more. That is my theory. I'm certain that I will be using the Dark Elf Triad on a different project because I have liked those colors a lot for doing kind of a, highlighting on a cool black. I don't know what color his eyeball's going to be yet. We're not going to worry about that. My original plan was to have her eyes black. And I didn't use a black. I think I used that nightshade purple. So they're not dark enough now. I'll have to test again and decide if I want to try to go with like some kind of a more glowy color or something. Definitely wanted to look creepy. And I know mermaid is over. We're not doing person. We're doing eels. So it's Moray Eel June now, I guess. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but here we are. Let's get some stuff happening on his little friend. Reaper Miniatures has shared the link to the Reaper Challenge League, which is a way to be part of a group and push yourself to paint more of your miniatures. And just generally hang out and have fun. So I do recommend checking that out if you have not already. Where's this guy from? I was trying to decide if this is meant to be his fin, but I don't think so, because why would his fin be growing out of his stomach when this guy's is not? Definitely gonna have to see if I can find some pictures of them that are more than just the head. I guess they're pretty into hiding and just poking their heads out. So it's going to look a little different on this one because on the other one I had already done some highlights and whatnot with the dark elf colors. But that's okay. They are two separate individuals. I don't need them to be identical. I perhaps even maybe don't want them to be identical. But then I guess I do have to decide whether I need to start the other half of that first one with the dark elf, and I think I'm gonna hope that I don't have to do that. Kind of trying to emphasize the dark cavity of its mouth, because I think that's part of what makes moray eel creepy. Moray eels creepy is that, you know, gaping open jaw. Tone that down and work it in a bit with some more bruised purple. And then go back to my darker velvety colors. Which kitty is that? Okay, I think it's Chai. They are hard to tell apart from certain angles, and then not at all hard to tell apart from other angles. I've been joking with my husband that there's actually 3 of them, and he just hasn't realized yet. Which I think would really be impossible to pull off, because there'd be one of them that isn't running to have dinner. No, there would not be one like that. pick her up to say hi, she will probably not let me put her down. Keep telling her that if she wanted to ride my shoulder, she probably should have eaten slightly fewer snacks. She's definitely a little heavier than her sister, who doesn't especially want to ride my shoulder. She likes to go to sleep on you, and you just sit there and she sleeps, and that's it. She'll stay with you a long time as long as she can get a good nap. Like, aren't you a bit young to be this into naps, my friend? This is being very into naps. Weird eyelid somehow. Get the blue liner. The inset parts very deep. So I did thin that down a little. And I like how it made the crest so dark on the other one. I mean, I have to do something to bring out the texture a little, but maybe I'll use the just the dark elf on those parts. And I think it's enough of the major colors in that I should be able to decide if I need more colors or we're just working out where these colors go. I mean, there'll be a little bit of variation on the base, but I don't want to introduce too many new colors that aren't going to be included on the figure in some way. I am kind of leaning to doing their tails in the lighter or richer colors. So let's just do a quick little test and see what that looks like. Maybe it ends up too distracting or something. I had to add in some clear orange so it's not super opaque now. Maybe it's kind of an interesting effect that way. What's up? Oh, you're gonna do that, huh? All right, well, we'll let everybody see you doing that thing that you like to do. There's Tabby. Tabby is a crazy nut. Right? You want me to hug you now. But you know I'm doing something, right? Good talk. Is this a Reaper Mini? This is a Reaper Mini. I do not believe that it is currently available, but there are a number of other mermaids if you wanted to try to paint a similar sort of creepy mermaid scheme. This is the... Is it that? It's related to the Mersaleuth cult in Brinewind and that part of the Adon world. So this is one of her Mersaleuth avatars where she's like creepy and stuff. So I've been trying to do a little bit of color dissonance. Fishy is not completely finished, but I wanted to do something for Mermaid, and I know I have the mermaids that you can get now. I just could not find them. So I will have to I will have to work harder on that, but for now we get a substitute mermaid. I do want to finish this guy. But that's where he is now. Starburst. And this is me trying something. I noticed painting this one that when I was setting up the camera, that the color and the value started to look a lot more correct if I put my hand behind her. So I was trying to have something closer to the camera because I thought that's what did it. And then I was testing with some of these other guys, and it doesn't make it much of a difference to Fishy and the Owl Bears. Well, we all missed last week because it was a holiday. But I think you might have missed the week before, too. That's when I started that figure. Well, it was a U.S. holiday, so myself and Quindy and the Reaper Channel in general were not available. Yeah, I wonder if it's kind of be interesting to do sort of the reverse thing, where the lighter color is in the crevices, and then we do the black on top. So I guess let's find out. Yeah, although this is a textured area, it is well-defined texture, and it would take a few coats of me goofing around, like a fair few coats of me goofing around before I had to start worrying about unfilling the texture in with paint. So sometimes the easiest way to figure stuff out is just to do it on the miniature. I feel like if I did that, we would have to have it go up their crests too. I like it, but I don't know if it does kind of compete with, you know, what should be the focal point. She's got a black pearl, which is part of the description of the character from the Landlubber's Guide to Brinewind, I think is what it's called. Well, there's the Landlubber's Guide to the Sword Coast and then another one for Brinewind, and I admittedly do not remember offhand which one this character is described in. don't stop messing with it, it will never dry for me to mess with some more. So let's turn to my guy. Main body painting. Just checking if, and I think that some of my paints are kind of drying out because I probably should put more water in this palette actually. I spilled a little on my way from the sink, so then I got overcautious, I guess. So I'm trying to paint her creepy pendrake, I guess was the main goal here, was to not do, you know, the cute, pretty mermaid, but aim for more of a creepy mermaid. My apologies if you can hear a lot of lawnmowers in the background. That will probably continue all summer. I think some of our neighbors must be doing something more than yard work sometimes. But I don't know. I'm sure they wish we would do more of that kind of thing. But I'm not making this dotty enough. My goal with the dottiness is to kind of make it look more natural and not take forever worrying about blending stuff. But mostly the more natural things. So it's like kind of partly highlighting and partly a coloration type of deal. Queenie says there's the slightest hint of a hum with earbuds in. I wouldn't have even noticed if you had not said anything about it. Good, thank you for checking that. Because I think it must be like the neighbors right next to us or something. That does seem very loud. All right, is that tail dry? I think so. So now, what brush do I want to try this with? Let's use a stiffer brush, I think. I want to side brush and not get things in the crevices is my problem. Because I'm gonna test using a darker color on top instead of in the crevices. On this side at least. Darker for down the sides here. And I haven't actually painted her tail yet, so I don't have to worry about messing that up. So I don't know, what do we think? I think it could be kind of cool. I would have helped you, Kitty. Don't be stubborn. just for contrast. Hate, what? Okay. She loves playing with tape. I don't know why. Because you're weird, Tab, that's why. This side, I'll try doing the dark in the lines a little bit. Then we can compare and contrast. See which we think looks creepier. Well, I think I'm leaning to the light in the crevices and dark on the texture. Okay, there was a lot of crinkling, so I just wanted to check on what the nutty cat was up to. And I figure that does mean I want to do the same thing along here. But with cat hair. Oh wait, it doesn't matter if I want to do things with cat hair. Cat hair is just gonna happen. So I had made a little ball of tape to clean off my palette sponge, and this is what she's grabbed. If you hear weird crunching in the background now to go with the mowing. Because I don't know why that's fun for her, but it's super fun for her. She loves when a package has like a little piece of tape hanging off. Pulling on that too. Yeah, I think that could be going on the crest too. I'll go back to the bodies for now. So I, just for Pendrake's benefit, and anyone else who may have come in a little later, the original idea for this was from an actual moray eel, but I can't share the picture. So if you want to search for black moray eels, there are some that have kind of this peachy color, sort of peeks through on their face and whatnot. But once I got started, so I did just do the face at first, and I was going to do the bodies more of a natural black. But now that I'm here, I'm into this, like the orange is just, you know, nice, unpleasant contrast with the tealy green of the hair, I think. I think it's enough to be a little disquieting, but not completely discordant in terms of, you know, color theory and whatnot, so that, like, it's so terrible you don't want to look at it at all. That's not where I'm trying to go. walk a line between making it look not nice, which admittedly is not something, I'm not saying I've never painted a creepy or unpleasant miniature. I certainly have. But I'm sure that I've spent more time painting miniatures where the colors are supposed to look nice together and make the miniature more attractive and whatnot. She has 2 pet eels, actually, so each one of those has a head, and then they wrap around each other, and one tail comes out there, and one tail comes out here, and her tail comes out here. There's a lot of tails on here. Gotta get it broken up on this guy's body a little more. It worked easier on the other one. Trying to come up with a combination of it being both like a variation of coloration, but also accenting the undulations and places where it curves and whatnot. Now it sounds like they're drilling teeth. Which is not what I need to be reminded about right now. No, I'm actually just sort of amazed that all the stuff I had done when I was a kid, I never even knew this was a thing that could happen, that your jaw could lock up after. Dental stuff. Which it might be from holding it open, or sometimes where they get the anesthetic needle can annoy the muscle. And he certainly was very thorough with the anesthetic needle, which I'm not complaining about. When I was a kid, I used to really hate needles. And sometimes my dentist would do just shallow fillings without any anesthetic, because I hated needles enough that I went for that. But now I'm old, and if there are ways to not be in pain, I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that. I'm cool with it. But admittedly, I didn't know your jaw could go all wonky when I made that choice. I have some function back, and I know we can say what we want on Twitch as long as I'm not showing any body parts. I that was the other reason I picked her. I had some that were not Twitch appropriate miniatures. Some of the sirens from the last Kickstarter. But anyway, when I was looking up the jaw thing the second time, I learned the test for if your mouth opens the average amount. And that is whether you can hold your fingers like that, 3 fingers inside your mouth is the average, how much the average person's mouth opens. Just in case anyone was wondering. Great trivia. This guy's mouth opens much more than that, I am sure. Because he has a lack of hands. So if he eats a bagel, he's going to eat it whole, I'm sure. Almost ready to start bringing some of the darker colors back. That one needs stirred though. And might as well stir this one while I'm here. So now I try to make that edge look more natural by breaking it up with little dots. And do I need to start with that one maybe? There's sometimes a bit of a back and forth on this kind of thing. Because it's like I'll break up the edge that faces down, but then kind of make a new one. But that is just part of the process. Need some of that darker color over here, I think. Definitely right there. And then the blue liner, if it hasn't dried up too much, will really put some nice depth into those shadows. And hopefully help contribute to the impression that it's a cylinder. So, you know, things that roll away and get darker look more cylindrical. Might have got that a little high up, though. And get some in here. Put it down here already? I cannot remember. Oh, there's no such thing as too much liner, so we'll stick some in there. Get a little bit beside that fin because it would be casting a shadow. He's not perfect, but he's not terrible, I don't think. It's too bad Julie had to go. She probably knows all about the ecology of eels. Could be sharing fun facts with us. Alright, so now it's kind of like a pub puzzle or something to find all the tails. think I'm going to err on the side of just a lot of dark on that one, even if it's not going to read as quite as cylindrical. I think it just makes more sense. Am I missing one? No. I mean, I feel like I just don't want people spending too much time looking there, because I am not. This is not. Probably it's not going to be my, Reaper entry. If it is, I can come back and try to tidy some stuff up. Enhance. So yes, if you're coming to ReaperCon and you're like all in your head about entering the contest, don't be. It's very friendly, and you're more than welcome to take something off your game table, off your display shelf, and bring that. You don't have to paint something that we've never seen before, brand new thing that just came out or whatever. We don't care about any of that. It doesn't even have to be a Reaper miniature. We don't care about that. We just want to see people having fun with miniatures. I did, excuse me, I did recently post a new version of my page that lists all the conventions and shows that I'm aware of that you can attend. So if you go to my website, that is currently the latest blog entry. There's already one up about ReaperCon and the MSP Open specifically, with kind of common issues that come up, common questions that people have. I've got a lot of information on my website about ReaperCon and the contest in particular. But I am going to try and go through that, and if I need to edit anything for clarity or anything that may have changed. I don't think anything's really changed that I would have to update, but I'm always trying to make sure that I'm making as much sense as I can, contrary to how it may seem on some episodes of this show where I don't make a lot of sense. Excuse me. Actually, I think I need to get that a little darker. Reaper Miniatures has shared the link to my blog, so you can look there. And if you know of a contest or show, like if it's a local one, I put the local ones from my town in that I know about, and some others that I found. But there's not too small, as long as it has some kind of miniature competition and information that people can find out about it. I am happy to share that, because I know people get frustrated when they feel like there's no conventions or events that they can get to without having to spend a lot of money to travel. And travel just isn't feasible for everybody for a variety of reasons. Some people have health reasons or responsibilities that prevent them being able to travel. And I totally get and respect that. And I'm trying to find whatever information I can share about other options. Actually, it meant to go to my local IPMS, International Plastic Modelers Society show think it was on Memorial Day weekend. And I mentioned that, so those are listed on my page about cons and shows, because they have category. It doesn't have to be plastic. It doesn't have to be a kit, a vehicle kit. They have categories for our type of stuff. And I've gone to my local one. I know that Michael Proctor has gone to his local one in Colorado. And they have a lot of chapters all around the world. So there may be one of those shows closer to you than you think. So it's not like everyone in the club is going to be super into miniatures. When I went, there was a guy he'd done a lot of historical stuff and like larger figures. And it's cool to look at the cars and the planes and stuff too. I mean, they get some really neat paint finishes on those cars. So I recommend it, both as, a participant and a viewer, I guess. That's how I would say that. And everybody was like super nice to me, and it sounds like Michael had a very similar experience. They even emailed him to let him know about the show that they had, and find out if he was coming and stuff, which my guys didn't do that, but then they don't know my email, so why would they? But I hadn't gone in a while, and I meant to go. I mean, it's just down the street for me. Even now, they do it at a Catholic school that's down the street from me. And then I did not remember until Sunday, which was too late. So that was a little ADHD moment there, I guess. Not as bad as the time I went to somebody's birthday the day after it happened. Like, it was their big 50th birthday party, and we're driving around going, where is this place? Why is no one here? And then we figured out that I had written the wrong day down on the calendar. So I tend to try to check and double check that stuff, but apparently I don't always succeed. This is more of the body part, so I figure that it should have the same kind of highlighting. I don't think we can see that inner part on this guy's tail. My paint is getting a little crusty, but maybe I will just mix up a bit more of that color, because I think that is the color that I'm going to need. And also, it's not like it was like a crazy hard mix. It was just this Doxy blush, and then it wasn't as orange as I wanted, so I added clear orange. That is what was on my table. Lazy people like me do a lot of, this is this color because that is what was on my table painting. Nope, I think that the big brush I have actually has the best point. I need to sort my brushes. person is going to have one very thoroughly mowed yard at the end of this. Just do a little. The blue liner has also dried. That's what I get for not using wet palettes as intended and not making them wet enough. So, is anyone planning to come to ReaperCon? I believe Quindy was. Weren't you working on something for the contest? You talked about that a little while back. And how's that been going? Has Anne spilled what she's working on? Quindy is trying to get the prep done. Excellent. So you have been attacking it. Yay, I'm very happy to hear that. I do not at this time know that I do have a contest entry. I guess I could put Ron's hobgoblins in. Although I don't think anyone else could be as excited to look at them as Ron is. I think they're, a little too boring and grungy. Even though I painted so long on those. I tried to walk that line between gritty realism and the colors that Ron wanted, and then also being cool to look at, but I do not know that I achieved the goal. Went a little too far down on the other one, I think. Have to add a bit of the dark back. Carrie Michael Cosby is prepping class minis right now. Oh, that is also something I need to do. But right now I've been trying to work on the notes for my class. So I definitely want to have that all sorted out in time for, Reaper has a deadline that we have to send the things in to get them printed and stuff. So I would much rather have them get printed by Reaper. Even though we have a new printer and it's not terrible, they always end up much nicer quality printing than what I manage to do at home. Partly because I have to pick I tend to pick crappy paper, like very thin paper, because I have to put it in my suitcase and I've got to keep the weight as low as possible. Because my handouts are not known for their brevity. I'm trying to figure out how to explain some stuff. And then I need to do some painting to make pictures. So I always prioritize my class stuff over contest stuff. And rarely do I have some amazing thing. It's just like, well, here's something that I painted since last year that I'll just put in the contest now. Oh, you got your tape back. Okay. Nope, that's where I ripped the strip off a package. Tabby is bored. This is probably not great news for me. We're still working on please don't come on the paint table. It's like I let you guys freely roam all the other tables and distract me and interrupt my dinner and all kinds of other things. But I would like to establish if I'm at the paint table, please don't jump up here and make yourself multicolored. That would be bad. That would be very bad. No, I just said it would be bad, silly. Are you a silly girl? Oh, you got yourself too high. The second round of classes is going up on Friday. So I should probably put my description in before then. Pressure. All right, I'll work on that. I need to bug Ron then. Gotta finalize something with him before I know. I'll probably go over this bit up again just to make sure that I get it all the same. I don't think I'll be able to actually get to the detailing part because it's going to be time to let Wendy go to the bathroom soon. But I didn't want to try to slap a few coats of this on there because I put that orange in. It's not the most opaque paint going, and it's going to take a few coats. Friday at noon, and I assume that is no, thank you, noon Reaper time. So Central is when the next round of class tickets is going to go live, and this is the first week of June. In case someone is listening, watching this on VOD or on Reaper's YouTube channel, and was wondering about that. The best way to find out about that, I think, is to follow Reaper on Facebook, and I believe that there's always an announcement posted when stuff goes live. Although I guess we all know how helpful Facebook is at showing you what you actually want to see. I moderate the little local miniatures group that we have in my town that I was talking about earlier, camp, the Knoxville area miniature painters, and I set it to invite because we had people come in and do the spammy nonsense contest thing and whatnot. And Facebook has become terrible about telling me that someone has asked to be added to the group. It's like, doesn't that seem like something you should prioritize? Like, I used to see messages right away, and I would hop on, even if I, wasn't planning on hanging on Facebook. I'd at least go on and, scope them out and try to make sure they were not a spammy scam artist. But now I have to try to remember to go look periodically, because I've had people that got left for a week or so, and it's like, I'm so sorry. I just don't click notifications anymore, and I don't go on Facebook quite as much as I used to. Or when I do, like sometimes I just, I just scroll a bit. I don't go through every single notification and stuff anymore. I'm trying to be better about using my time. But I think it's probably safe to say that I just found different ways to waste my time. But it's an ongoing, self-improvement struggle. I shall continue. But anyway, the upshot of this really long drawn out story was go follow Reaper on Facebook. They're on, of course, all your other social channel avenues, but I don't know if the announcements for stuff like classes go out to all of those at the same time or not. And I'm pretty sure there are still class tickets from the first round of classes. I think I looked a few days ago when I still saw some. I suppose it's possible that they got snapped up in between when I looked and now. Yeah, hopefully that orange isn't going to be too distracting. Maybe I should make your eyes like that color or something. But I think it is time for Queenie to find us a raid so that she can go to the bathroom. So here, since it seems to make a difference for this miniature, let me hold my hand up that I got paint on when I didn't realize, and give her a little spin. Wow, that orange looks orangey. Here, it's a little more of a pastel peachy kind of color, to my eyes at least. Quindy has shared all the Reaper social miniature links, and Reaper Miniatures has shared information about the Reaper game store. So if you're in Texas or you're going to travel to Texas, it's a fabulous store, and there's Paint Club as well, which the dates and times are listed in chat. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, go to reapergamestore.com and you will find more information there. You're welcome, Slayer Street. And Zachariah is confirming that they would love to see you at the store. He hangs out at Paint Club a lot, I believe. So I'll just bring Starburst back. They are not hanging out in the same part of the ocean, I would say. Not even a little. You are going to be rating, we are going to be rating. Zachariah organizes the Paint Club even. Play in the mud. So say hi, spread the Reaper love, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.